who knows if there is even a negotiation? Who's believing?
You doubting the vice president went to Pakistan?
Absolutely.
You believe the administration lied that J.D. Vance flew to Pakistan to negotiate with the Iranians?
But the point is he left.
No, are you saying that was a lie? Was that a fabricated item?
He left with nothing in hand.
Another day, another meltdown from CNN's far-right political commentator Scott Jennings. We are going to take a look at clips from a heated debate featuring Scott Jennings on Caitlin Collins' CNN show, with Jennings doing his usual spin and spreading misinformation and disinformation. I also want to share my thoughts on this one, so let's get into it together.
Scott, what do you make of what the father said? I think he made some compelling arguments there.
Yeah, I would counter and say that, A, we're not a theocracy in the United States, although our commanders-in-chief and military leaders often pray to God for success in battle. It's happened since George Washington knelt in the snow at Valley Forge. We aren't a theocracy. We have separation of church and state. It may be that the American left is trying to, turn us into a theocracy, which would be quite a development. But he's a president of the United States, which is a political office. The Pope is a faith leader. Those are two different things, and they have had some disagreements, presidents and popes in the past. I mean, I think of Dwight Eisenhower's Order of the Day, D-Day, 1944. Let us beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. I think every American believes that our invasion of France was a great and noble undertaking and that it was fully appropriate for Eisenhower to ask God to support our just and noble cause. The president believes that it is a righteous, noble, moral cause to keep these fanatics in Iran from having a nuclear weapon. And that is the decision he's made as a political officer of the United States.
And I think if the Pope had just made these comments in Cameroon talking about separatists there, this would not be leading the show tonight. I think it's the personal fight that he's gotten in with the Pope where he's going after him and putting quotes in his mouth that the Pope didn't say. I mean, it's not hard to fact check that the Pope did not say Iran should have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's less about that and it's more about what the Pope said, which is this manipulation of religion. I don't blame Trump. I blame these evangelicals, these religious leaders that have enabled the president's behavior, that have promoted him to near deification of the president. That's really the problem. So I'm not surprised or shocked that he would depict himself as Jesus because they've elevated him to that point. Paula White was at the White House and compared him several times to Jesus Christ. I mean, that is blasphemy in and of itself. But here's the thing. They're going to have to reconcile their own faith with this administration that is conducting and governing itself very much antithetical to Christian tenets, cutting Medicare, cutting SNAP, cutting housing, separating families, children from their families, igniting a war across the Middle East. None of that aligns with Christian tenets. And so my question really is, who's going to stop Donald Trump? If it's not morality and it's not the Supreme Court, much more devastating is going to happen.
You seem to raise your eyebrows when she was talking about the people around the president. But can we listen to what the Republican Congressman Troy Neals actually said today about this?
I believe that Donald Trump is better than sliced bread. I think he's almost the second coming, in my humble opinion.
I mean, that does come after Pastor Paula White last week was also saying similar things to the president at the White House.
Yeah, look, I don't mistake political leaders and my religious views. I try to keep those things separate, and I don't deify political leaders, and I don't necessarily look at them.
Vote on abortion. They're conflating their political beliefs with their religious beliefs. That happens every day in America. I mean, look.
Sure, but
I do not see how anyone could argue that what Scott Jennings does is anything other than treating Donald Trump like he is perfect, because he often acts as if Trump can never be questioned. I honestly do not know what other word fits better than that. And Troy Nels, I mean, these grown men praising Donald Trump in this way and acting like he is some kind of second coming is just disgusting.
Answering the specific question, which is, no, I don't find American political leaders to necessarily be infallible or, the best paragons of virtue when it comes to religion. I will tell you this. You asked, why is this Christian or why is this moral? I mean, there is a CBS news poll out. Catholics who go to church every week give the president a 58% approval rating right now. So the Catholic Church
was that taken before or after he got in a fight with the Pope?
It's April 8th through the 10th, so it's happening during the war, which is what the fight is about. So
it was before his argument with the Pope.
Okay, well, look, my point is this. The Catholic Church and Christianity at large is a broad spectrum of people. I mean, you had your boss, Joe Biden, in the White House. I mean, he believed in abortion, believed in gay marriage, not doctrine Catholic teachings either. So there's a broad spectrum of political views among people who are practicing Christians and practicing Catholics. There's nothing unusual about that. But ultimately, you look to the President of the United States to act in the best interest of the nation. And sometimes they pray to God for support and help with military battles. Yeah. Sometimes they're in agreement with religious leaders, and sometimes they aren't. But we have a secular government for a reason. We're not a theocracy.
Scott, what is your take? I mean, because I did hear from people at the White House today after Secretary Hegseth's press conference. I mean, he spends a good deal of time attacking the press. I mean, I don't think that's surprising. But comparing the press to Pharisees today?
Look, my personal advice and view is it's over the top. It's unnecessary. I tend to agree with him that there are a lot of people in the press and on the American left who are appear to be rooting for bad outcomes. I don't disagree with him. He doesn't need to cast it in these terms, in my view. He doesn't need to be over the top about it. And I also think the American military's performance speaks for itself. It's been nothing short of brilliant. And by the way, the president today also said that he thought the blockade that he had put in place was even more effective than the wartime activities that we were engaged in. And we're in a moment right now. The blockade's working. We're in a ceasefire. There's a chance to bring this regime to its knees, take away their nuclear weapons, and make the world a safer place. I would hope that everybody, the Pope and anyone else.
They do not have any nuclear weapons, so there are no nuclear weapons to take away. Scott Jennings and others like him have pushed this narrative again and again, especially when it comes to Iran, repeating claims about nuclear weapons that are not backed by the actual evidence. The reality is that, according to international experts and monitoring agencies, Iran does not currently possess a nuclear weapon, even though it does have an advanced nuclear program and the capability to potentially build one if it chose to.
Would look at this as an opportunity to pressure them and bring them to their knees and take away their ability to continue to kill people in the Middle East and around the world and have weapons that would kill millions worldwide.
Is that how you see it?
I mean, where do you start with this thing? I mean, I think the question is, what can you believe from this president? The lies, he perpetuates lies. I mean, none of his reality is grounded in truth. I mean, we're in a situation now where he's made a bad situation even worse. I mean, what is the objective now? Was it regime change? Because that's not happened. Was it the nuclear weapons? Because we're not even talking about that anymore. Somehow we're focused.
Yes, we are.
Somehow we're focused on
it's literally the only thing we're negotiating over.
Who knows if there is even a negotiation? Who's believing?
You doubting the vice president went to Pakistan?
Absolutely.
You believe the administration lied that J.D. Vance flew to Pakistan to negotiate with the Iranians?
But the point is he left.
No, are you saying that was a lie? Was that a fabricated item?
He left with nothing in hand. That is the point.
And we're about to negotiate again?
I'm not sure what we're defining as negotiation.
They will not have a nuclear weapon.
The point is, we had a deal in place. The president came into office and undermined the plan that Obama put in place.
It allowed nuclear enrichment.
Now we're in a situation where there's all these unknowns. It
is hard not to notice that smug attitude, the way he laughs quietly to himself, smiles, and then turns to the camera with that smirk, and it can definitely be frustrating to watch.
Incredible implications. We're in an global energy crisis. Gasoline's up. We're at a situation now where we've never, yes, we are. And never in our nation's history have we had such high distrust from our allies and our foes alike. We're in a bind with no sort of clarity on where this thing is headed. And so that's the major concern, is that who knows what to believe and who knows what's next with this president.
I find it incredible that you're doubting that J.D. Vance flew to Pakistan, or that we're actively engaged in diplomacy right now.
He walked away with
the bottom line is
that
this.
has been consistent with
we have a goal.
Vance
We have a
this
goal.
administration.
We have a goal. They're not going to have nuclear weapons. And the blockade is working. And we're costing them hundreds of millions of dollars a day.
And we're also costing the American people hundreds of millions of dollars every day.
No,
I paid $6 for gas just yesterday.
Were you in California?
No, I was here in D.C.
Okay.
I was in Virginia.
Oh, another blue area.
I was in Virginia.
Congrats. A blue area.
$5 in Nevada, where the president is tonight, talking about no tax on tips. Ashley Etienne, Scott Jennings, thanks for both of you for being here.
So this is just another one of those annoying things that all these MAGA commentators like Scott Jennings do, where they try to dismiss real experiences by saying things like, "Were you in California buying gas?" And when she says no, she is in another blue state, they immediately act like it does not count, as if the millions of people living in places like California, the most populous state in the country, somehow do not matter. Like, who cares? You are in a blue state, so your gas prices are high, and it is just such dishonest behavior. Scott Jennings never really debates using actual facts, and instead he gets defensive when Ashley Etienne says we cannot trust what is being done, and then he flips it into outrage, acting like questioning the administration is somehow wrong, even though there is a long pattern of changing stories and statements which makes people doubt what they are being told. As we have seen, Scott Jennings acts more like a spokesperson for the administration, and his role on TV and other media platforms seems to be to confuse the issue and create doubt whenever there is criticism coming from progressives, Democrats, or anyone left of center toward Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and others in the administration. That is really what he does: create confusion and spread misinformation. Then he tries to compare what Donald Trump is doing in Iran to something like a justified mission, even though critics see it as an unnecessary and harmful conflict that has only made things worse, draining resources, increasing tensions, and putting lives at risk on all sides. And yet Scott Jennings still presents it as something noble, even comparing it to something like World War II, which many people simply do not accept. Fortunately, a large portion of the American public, around 65 to 70%, opposes this kind of situation, which shows that many people are not convinced by this narrative. But despite all of this, Scott Jennings will likely continue to be invited onto shows like Caitlin Collins' program and others on CNN. In the end, it comes down to what you think. Do you agree with Scott Jennings and believe that questioning the administration is wrong, or do you agree more with what Ashley Etienne said to Caitlin Collins, that the administration cannot be fully trusted and that there is no clearly defined direction since the story keeps changing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.